At 11:42 on the morning of January 27, 1945, Staff Sergeant Robert Chen crouched inside the central fire control station of B-29 Superfortress A-Square-52, watching frost creep like white veins across the plexiglass as the bomber clawed its way upward through 28,000 feet over the Pacific Ocean. Chen was only 22 years old. He had flown 11 combat missions over Japan. He had 0 confirmed aerial kills. That morning, Japanese radar stations had already detected the incoming bomber. Stream and intelligence estimated that at least 40 enemy fighters had been scrambled to intercept the strike force headed for Tokyo. Chen was the youngest gunner assigned to the 497th Bombardment Group, but his hands were steady on the controls that linked him to 4 remotely operated gun turrets distributed across the massive fuselage. Each turret carried twin 50 caliber machine guns. He had fired them only 3 times in combat, twice over Nagoya and once along the Japanese coastline. And so far, he had never watched an enemy aircraft fall. The 73rd Bombardment Wing had been operating out of Saipan since November, and the pattern of missions had become grimly predictable. Bombers flew at extreme altitudes, between 28,000 and 30,000 feet, where temperatures plunged to 50 degrees below zero, and jet stream winds battered aircraft so violently that even the best bombardiers struggled to maintain accuracy. Japanese fighters climbed to meet them on every mission. By mid-January, the wing had lost 31 B-29s to flak and interceptors. That number represented more than aluminum and engines. It meant 340 trained airmen gone. The worst losses came on January 14th over Nagoya, when 5 superfortresses were destroyed in less than 20 minutes. Just as German Panther and Tiger tanks had taught American armored units the cost of inferior protection, Japanese interceptors were now teaching B-29 crews the brutal limits of altitude advantage. One aircraft in particular had become infamous, the Nakajima Ki-44. Known to American intelligence as the Tojo, and to Japanese pilots as the Shoki, a name that translated to Devil Queller. The name was well earned. The Ki-44 could climb to 28,000 feet in under 8 minutes, and carried either 4 12.7mm machine guns or 2 devastating 20mm cannons. At high altitude, where B-29 gunners fought frozen mechanisms and oxygen deprivation, a single Ki-44 could make repeated attack passes with relative safety. Even worse were the ramming attacks. Beginning in August 1944, Japanese pilots had started deliberately crashing their fighters into superfortresses after expending their ammunition. This was not formal kamikaze doctrine. It was cold arithmetic. 1 fighter for 1 bomber was considered an acceptable exchange when the bomber cost over $600,000 and carried 11 men trained for 6 months. The 47th Sentai, based at Narimasu Airfield near Tokyo, had even formed a specialized unit to practice ramming tactics. American intelligence estimated that this unit alone had destroyed at least 3 B-29s outright and damaged 7 more beyond repair. A-Square-52 was carrying 6 tons of high-explosive bombs. The target was Tokyo's port facilities. Weather reconnaissance reported clear skies, which meant visual bombing. Visual bombing required long, straight, level bomb runs. That meant vulnerability. Chen had been briefed at 0400 hours that 62 B-29s would participate in the strike. Intelligence predicted 9 would not return. The formation crossed the Japanese coast at 11:58 a.m. Radar operators on Honshu detected them immediately, and air raid sirens began howling across Tokyo. At Narimasu Airfield, pilots sprinted toward fighters already warming on the flight line. At exactly noon, the first Ki-44s lifted off. 43 fighters turned southeast toward the bomber stream. A-Square-52 was about to face more enemy aircraft than any B-29 had encountered on a single mission. The first fighter appeared as a dark speck at 12,000 yards, climbing almost vertically through scattered cloud layers. Chen tracked it through his optical sight as wings became visible, then the distinctive radial engine cowling of a Ki-44. At 27,000 feet, the fighter rolled inverted and dove toward the lead element of the formation. 3 more followed. Chen rotated the upper forward turret, tracking the attack. The remote system, revolutionary for its time, allowed him to aim guns mounted 15 feet away, with a mechanical computer correcting for airspeed, altitude, and forward motion. At 50 below zero, the system was temperamental. The lead Ki-44 opened fire at 800 yards. Tracers arced toward the bombers. Chen fired. The turret hammered, sending 50 caliber rounds downrange at nearly 2,800 feet per second. The fighter snap-rolled left and vanished beneath the formation. No hits. By 12:07, the sky had erupted into chaos. Fighters attacked from every direction. Standard tactics involved high-side passes at 400 miles per hour, diving through the formation and braking hard to escape defensive fire. Ramming attacks followed no such rules. A Ki-44 lined up at 2 o'clock high. Chen engaged at 700 yards, firing a controlled 3-second burst. Armor-piercing incendiary rounds walked across the fighter. Path. The engine detonated in a cloud of black smoke. The aircraft rolled inverted and plunged earthward. Chen's first confirmed kill. There was no time to react. More fighters pressed in. The right blister gunner engaged one. The tail gunner called another, closing from 6 o'clock low. Chen slaved the lower turret and fired, missing. The tail gunner stitched the enemy's wing root. The fighter disintegrated into a flat spin. Second kill. At 12:19, the formation reached the initial point for the bomb run. For 6 minutes, the bombers would fly straight and level. Fighters knew it. 14 Ki-44s formed above the stream, orbiting, coordinating. At 12:21, they attacked. Chen watched 2 pairs dive simultaneously. His fire converged with that of neighboring bombers. One Ki-44 flew directly into the storm of tracers. Its canopy shattered. It collided with its wingman. Both disintegrated. Third and fourth kills. 2 more fighters broke through. One committed to a ramming attack. Chen fired continuously. At 12:22, the Ki-44 struck AGWR-52's No. 3 engine. The impact tore the propeller free. The bomber yawed violently. Fires erupted. Engines shut down. AGWR-52 dropped out of formation on 2 engines. 3 fighters dove in to finish the crippled bomber. What followed was an aerial execution that failed. Chen destroyed 1 attacker at 600 yards. The tail gunner claimed another. A third rammed the No. 1 engine, destroying it completely. AGWR-52 was now flying on a single engine, descending through 18,000 feet, with hydraulics failing and fuel leaking. Still, the fighters came. Chen continued firing despite frozen optics, numb hands, and failing systems. One by one, Ki-44s fell, shot down manually, hydraulics gone, instinct guiding the aim. 7th, 8th, 9th. By the final wave, Chen had 15 rounds left. He used all of them to destroy another fighter. With no ammunition remaining, the last attackers prepared for ramming runs. Then, fate intervened. The lead Ki-44's engine seized. Mechanical failure. The fighter fell away into the Pacific. The remaining 3 broke off. 14 confirmed kills. 1 bomber. AGWR-52 limped toward Saipan on 1 engine. Systems dying. Fuel dwindling. 2 crewmen dead. 11 hours later, with engines gone and landing gear half deployed, the bomber crash-landed at Isley Field. 10 men survived. AGWR-52 was a total loss. The crew was not. 1 mission. 14 enemy fighters destroyed. 2 deliberate ramming attacks survived. 10 lives saved. And 1 22-year-old gunner who never stopped firing. He didn't celebrate. There was no time. Another fighter came in low. The tail gunner stitched its wing. It spun out of control. At 12:19, the bombers reached the bomb run. 6 minutes. Straight and level. No evasive maneuvers. The fighters knew it. 14 Ki-44s formed above the formation. At 12:21, they rolled in. Chen watched 2 fighters dive straight into converging streams of 50 caliber fire. Their canopy shattered. They collided with each other. Both disintegrated. Then one didn't pull up. It kept coming. A ramming attack. Chen fired continuously. At 12:22, the Ki-44 slammed into AGWR-52's No. 3 engine. The impact ripped the propeller free. The bomber yawed violently. Fire alarm screamed. 2 engines gone. AGWR-52 dropped out of formation. Alone. Damaged. Perfect target. 3 fighters dove to finish it. Chen destroyed 1 at 600 yards. The tail gunner killed another. Then the third rammed the No. 1 engine. Metal screamed. Fuel sprayed. AGWR-52 was now flying on 1 engine. Still, the fighters came. Chen kept firing as hydraulics failed, as optics froze, as the bomber fell through the sky. 7th kill. 8th. 9th. By the final wave, Chen had 15 rounds left. 4 fighters lined up for deliberate ramming runs. No ammunition, no power, no escape. Then something unexpected happened. The lead Ki-44's engine seized. Mechanical failure. It fell away into the Pacific. The remaining fighters broke off. 14 confirmed kills. 1 bomber. A-Square-52 limped home for 11 hours on a single engine. 2 crewmen died before landing. 10 survived. The aircraft was destroyed. The crew was not. 1 mission. 14 enemy fighters destroyed. 2 ramming attacks survived, and a 22-year-old gunner who never stopped firing. These are the stories history almost forgot. And now, you won't either.